Hello, my friend. Amner Hunter here. I am taking some days off here in my hometown, Bavispe, the state where I live in. I live in the capital of the state, but today I am here in my hometown visiting my parents, and I am taking advantage of this cool landscape, this river, walking around here in the nature, and also wanted to answer some of your burning questions that I have lately from you guys. So yeah, don't forget that I have some free PDF guides and ebooks on my website for music producers and guitar players. And yeah, I will leave all of the applicable links in the video description, and of course some timestamps in case that you want to move around between the mini segments of the video. So let's start with the first question. I've got a problem when I plug my interface and start the amp sim. It not gave me a sound from the amp. Do you know where I am wrong? Thanks. It could be a number of things, but mostly you could have maybe the input on the channel where you have the amp sim set. Maybe the input, it's not the right one. For example, if you have two inputs on your interface and you have your guitar cable plugged into the second channel of your interface, you need to set the guitar track to be fed up by that input, right? So you need to select that. So you can go to your DAW's settings and you can adjust the inputs and outputs there, or even in the individual channel, you're gonna be able to recognize and choose the channel that belongs to your guitar cable, for instance. That could be one thing. The other one, maybe the plugin itself, the software is failing and you need to restart, or you need to reinstall maybe the plugin as well. That could be another reason that I have come across. So yeah. Patton's Arm says, I only have an iPad. I get ads on social media for instruments that go with Kontakt. It's that the only way to use them? Kontakt isn't available for iOS. Well, unfortunately, yes, you need Kontakt to use those instruments. And if Kontakt is not available for iOS devices, well, there's not a lot to be done there, because Kontakt instruments only work with the platform itself from native instruments. Unfortunately, there's no other way to use them. Thomas Hood asks, hi Amner, like your channel, how is the CPU usage on the SSL plugins? Well, to be honest, they are pretty CPU friendly. I haven't come across any issues with those plugins by SSL. So yeah, I recommend those plugins. I have some of them and they work great. Yeah. Hey, awesome video. I don't understand how to use the double tracker. Whenever I download it, I get a DLL file and I don't know how to run the plugin on my DAW, which is Ableton Live. Could you please help? Sure, yeah. Plugins back in the day were in that format, DLL, right? Now we have VST3 for Mac users. They have AU audio units and stuff. But if you get a DLL file, you need to drag and drop that file to your plugins folder, and you need to connect or let your DAW know that that's the path that it needs to follow. But sometimes when your DAW doesn't recognize a plugin, it's because you have the plugin in the wrong folder, or you haven't set your DAW to follow that specific folder to find the plugin itself. What is a DAW and how do you open it? A DAW, it's a digital audio workstation. It is a software that is specialized in music and audio production, and you need that DAW to open certain plugins, certain tools that you need to use to manipulate the sound, of course. For instance, in some cases like Amplitude, there is a standalone version, so you don't need the DAW. Sometimes you just open those amplifiers and tools on your desktop without the need of a DAW. But a lot of plugins specialized in music production, you would need a DAW. There are plenty of free ones that you can enjoy. I'm thinking BandLab, but it's only for Windows. Reaper, it's very, very affordable and cheap, $60 the license. Also in Mac, you have other types of DAWs that works great. So yeah, there you go. Then we have this question on the mixing metal guitars video with 3 plugins. So you don't use any compression or compressor. And metal guitars, there's not a lot of need of compression because high gain and distorted guitars are already compressed to death. So you don't need a compression, or at least not a lot of it. Because if you see the waveform in a distorted guitar, you're gonna see that it's very flat, right? It's pretty flat. So it means that it's already compressed, because distortion, it's that. Distortion, it's another form of compression, and high gain distortion, it's more compression. So you don't need a lot of compression. Maybe you would need some compression just in the low end to tame a bit those heavy chugs or palm mutes. But other than that, you don't need compression on electric heavy guitars. Why can't companies add gain matching to their plugins? It's hard to get a real A/B comparison without. Yeah, you're right. It's pretty cool when plugins have the gain matching function. It's very, very cool. I love it when plugins have that, because you get a real sense of what the plugin is doing. You get the real result, right? Because sometimes our judgment of the plugins might be based on just increases of volume or gain, but you're not having the real picture of what the plugin is doing. So yeah, I agree with you. I wish that all of the plugins would have a gain match or something. I agree with you 100%. Hopefully more companies will keep on doing that. So how do you EQ the kick then? All right, when it comes to the kick drum of a real drum kit, I usually have a high pass filter at around 40 hertz. If the kick drum, it's not playing too often, if it's a song that has very fast kick drums, I high pass them at 80 hertz, for instance, and that will leave a little bit of space for the bass guitar. High pass at around 40 hertz, or sometimes 80 hertz or 70 hertz. Also, there is a frequency, and actually I want to talk about more in depth of this, but the enemy frequency in metal and rock music, it's 500 hertz. So if you remove a bit of those 500 hertz in the kick drum, you will have also a much cleaner kick drum. There's a lot of build up in that region. There is like some resonances of the room and stuff. So if you remove that area in the kick drum, you will have also a better sound. You can also apply a small boost at around 100 hertz, 120. And finally, you can apply a boost in the kick drum at around 8 to 10K to add a little bit of that click brightness to the kick drum that is very necessary in rock and metal for the kick drum to stand out in the mix and to cut through the mix as well. Yeah, I think with 3 to 4 moves on the kick drum with equalization, you're gonna get a good sound already. Of course, if the source is good, you're not gonna have a lot of problems doing equalization. That's the place where most of the things start, right at the source, okay? And the last question is, what is this DAW that you use? I used for several years Cubase. I think in this video you are seeing Cubase as my DAW. Right now I have 1 year using Reaper. I am very happy with it. I don't see myself going back to Cubase. I loved Reaper from the moment I started. But in that video, I am guessing you are seeing Cubase. It's pretty cool software, of course. I started with that. I learned most of the basics in that, but now I am a user and faithful user of Reaper. Rock on. So yeah, there you have it, my friends. Those are the questions. If you have some more please leave them down below in the comment section. I will be more than glad to respond. Thanks a lot for your attention and for watching this video. Remember that I have some free PDF guides and ebooks on my website, amnerhunter.com. Go ahead and check it out if you are interested. And I will leave you all of the applicable links in the video description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. All right? Take care.